The train heist, it was an attempt for us to one-up the classic stagecoach train robbery. We wanted to do our Fast and Furious version of that, without horses, but a whole lot of horsepower.
There is no limits on this. Every Fast and Furious has got to top the last one. And what could top a hijacking of gasoline tankers? Well, let's just hijack a train. Let's cut right through the side of the train and pull cars out of it.
The train sequence, the key for us was how much could we do practical opposed to how much was going to end up being green screen or computer generated. Could we bring in the vehicles and the train and actually do it practically? And I think we've executed that to probably 90%.
We had to get permission to basically own a piece of railroad, working railroad, and then we had to buy trains, and then we had to, build these trucks that were able to go up against the trains.
I think the train sequence was our biggest accomplishment because the heist trucks were really built from scratch, right there in our shop. A truck showed up from Industrial Metals with a bunch of steel, and from that, we built a vehicle out of it. Looking at the vehicle itself, we basically designed the suspension very similar to a monster truck with the big 4-link bars and the large axles. The reason for this is we need to have tremendous durability and we need to be able to carry a lot of speed over rough terrain. They're coming through the open desert, flying this thing over crevices, over ditches, and everything else you can imagine. And of course, this whole sequence will be shot in Parker, Arizona in the middle of the summer, so that's going to be fun.
You know what? It was unbelievably hot. I mean, we saw the temperature gauge we had at base camp that was 120 degrees in the shade. Out in the sun, it was over 130. Yeah, it was very uncomfortable.
We ended up taking ice and laying it on the stuff that we were going to be jumping on and letting it cool off in between takes.
3, 2, 1, go!
I mean, that was the best thing we did.
We had the train set at 45 miles an hour. And we were set back about 600 yards with 4 stuntmen on the back, hanging on. And we'd have to catch up to the train. So this truck doesn't have a speedometer, so we're just guesstimating. So we're probably going excess of 65 miles an hour to catch up to the train, and then I'd have to slow down to 45 miles an hour to maintain that speed with it. And we take a car that weighs around 3,000 pounds and it's jerked off of the train onto the bed of my truck. You can imagine somebody just pushing the rear end of your truck on the gravel and it felt like it wanted to knock you over. It was a little nerve-wracking. When this truck was launched and jumped into the train, it was phenomenal. It was very exciting to see this truck weighing 10,000 pounds being pulled across the desert to hit a jump ramp to go into the side of a train. It's not something you see every day.
Okay, guys, train's moving. Roll camera!
And we thought it was going to derail it when it first hit it. And the train got up on its side. I thought, oh my God, it's going over.
I mean, we were like millimeters off, If it was just a little bit more push, that train would have overturned and it would have just killed the production.
But the couplings from the other boxcars locked in and it brought it back down. It was wild.
And then I wanted a car to be jumping out of the train at full speed. At one point, I think the studio was thinking that we'd have to basically replace the sequence. It was very costly.
When I first read the script, they wanted all these exotic cars, and there was a Mercedes SLR, Lamborghinis, Ferraris. There was cars that were all, in excess of $150,000, $200,000. So when you add that up, it just, blows our whole budget in one shot. So we had to come up with a cheaper alternative. So our final sequence was Corvette. I actually like my childhood favorite cars, so it all worked out well.
Once that car comes out of there, it's going to come out at about 70 miles an hour. so it's liable to be pretty violent. 3, 2, 1, go!
For the finale of the sequence, we've got to throw this Corvette off of the edge of the canyon. We used basically an air cannon and launched the Corvette into the water down below. We did it in 2 passes, one where the stunt guys jump into the water from the same platform.
Hey, here we go. Here we go. Set. 3, 2, 1, go!
And then we launched the Corvette as a separate pass for safety. And then marry the 2 in post. Once Vin and Paul come up from the water, that's them. We photographed both of those guys at the actual quarry location. For their coverage of their close-ups while they're falling through space, we are using green screen. We've put the Corvette onto a motion base and robotically control its motion to simulate what the falling car does when it's traveling through the air.
So whatever they did, you know, on the train unit sequence, we need to then insert Vin and Paul and their other actors.
3, 2, 1.
To be able to do that. Effects built a gimbal, we had our train mocked up, we had all the same elements, just now it's stationary. We could then control the environment, concentrate on story and the actor moments without having to worry about them in danger.
I've had friends come out and visit and they're like, "You kidding me? This is what you do for a living?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you think it'd be any other way?" You know, this franchise especially, you get to play every day. And 10 years later, I'm still doing stuff that I hadn't touched before, I hadn't seen before. It's unbelievable. You realize we're talking about going up against the most powerful guy in all of Rio?
Yes, we are.
Then we're gonna need a team.
For this film, the objective was to bring in characters that you knew from other Fast and Furious films, put them all together, and have a lot of fun.
When are you gonna give Martin Luther King his car back? As soon as you give Rick James his jacket back.
This time around, there's no way we could have even thought about venturing out without bringing everyone back. Everyone has played a major part, and everyone has contributed a whole hell of a lot to this franchise that's been involved in it.
Here we go, baby, let's go!
I'm gonna be genuine and say this. I am just genuinely happy to be back. Too Fast, Too Furious is my second movie. I mean, I was in the movie with the whitest white man ever, Mr. Paul Walker. This is a straight surfer dude, blonde, blue-eyed. What's going on, dude? What's happening, dude? Where are you, dude? I love that guy. He's a true rock star. This dance right here is for Paul. You ready? Okay.
We have so many stars, so many actors. It's incredible. We have such a good chemistry, and it's fun. This is Vin Diesel, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you love him?
It's like we went to high school together. It's like in the old gang back together. Yeah, usually the cars are the start of the movie, but in this one, because we have this huge ensemble, it's allowing us to kind of think out of that box and kind of stretch that muscle.
Usually you see characters for like 2 hours and then you're out of their lives. And with us, you know, you get to see them expand for 10 years.
When things started out, we were all just a bunch of kids and we're really happy to be there. Now, we've had a franchise that has spanned a decade. We're pretty lucky. Beyond that, I think where we were really lucky is just in assembling a cast that's so big that we all get along the way that we do.
The energy here is warm and generous. It's like going back home and, you know, seeing relatives that you haven't seen in a while.
The most important thing in life will always be the people in this room. Definitely a theme on and off screen, the theme of family.
You know that old saying, family comes first. So yes, it has been great. We've been hanging out with the cast, Offset, and I mean, you know, everybody's friends, it's good energy.
Can I get some light? Thank you, sir. See, this is what friends are for. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is my friend, like real friends, you know what I'm saying? This is when a friend is in need, this is the type of, you just come off the top, man, like, you know what I mean?
Well, you know,
he's resourceful, extremely resourceful.
It's whatever it takes to get it done. As long as you don't get on that joint looking like Barry White's cousin.
Oh, don't worry about that, brother.
People always talk about how, you know, we're like one big happy family, and it's so cliche. But 9 times out of 10, I don't buy it. I mean, you come and hang out as a visitor on our set, and you'll see the dynamic. It's the real deal. You can't create that. That's just luck of the draw.
Careful! Learn how to drive!
Yeah, let me get this over here.
This is what it's all about, my friend.
We're all having a little too much fun. It's almost a crime to actually get paid and to have this much fun.
This is all real money. This is really not a prop. This is actually Ben's safe and his money. He's a method actor, what can we say? This is what he got for the movie The Pacifier. All right here in the book.
I don't care what mood you was in. I don't care what bad news you got before you got to this set. When you get on the set of Fast 5, it's a party.
And now to sing the national anthem, Mr. Paul Walker.
It's fun because we each have different ways of interacting with the boys. I mean, Tyrese is very playful, and he's always kidding around on set, and it's just very testosterone-filled, but on the other hand, that's really fun, and they're all good-looking guys. It's, you know, it's a very easy day at work.
We're a bunch of grown men playing pretend with just bigger toys, so there doesn't need to be an ego. I think if you can step back and look at it that way, you know, this is a gift.
And when you at home sitting up watching this DVD, I just need y'all to know that even though we're all paid to be here, we worked our asses off to make this the best Fast and the Furious you've ever seen. So we just hope you enjoy. Fast and the Furious 5. Yeah. Let's take a ride, boys.
I think if you look at all 5 films, I feel like this franchise has been able to grow and evolve and mature. And I really wanted to push it a little bit more on this one. If you look at the design of the cars, there's no more neon lights. It's not about the flash. It's really about the engine. It's about the car and how it performs. So a lot of the cars that you see have to be worked in functionally.
All right, $1 million quarter mile. What do you say, Don?
We talking or we racing?
Even in the Corvette in the very beginning, it was there for a story reason. It wasn't that Dom picked it out. It was there and he had to use it. That's what I really wanted to push this franchise toward.
I think we've done really well with car casting. We brought back the Supra. That's one of the best Japanese cars ever built.
I think the tone's going to be off on this.
We had the R34 in multiple episodes. Brian just loves the Nissan Skyline. I like what the choices this time around. And I was especially happy about this one.
Held the record on the F&D to 3 years running.
How about that? All motor, no tuning issues. I always wanted one of those.
I remember telling Paul, like, you're gonna be able to drive a Porsche, and I just saw the smile on his face. And it was never appropriate before, but in this one, we had the right scene for it.
That will be the hero slide.
Okay. All right, go again.
I like the rear-wheel drive, rear-engine 911 Porsches. It's just kind of understood that that's one of the more difficult platforms to really master, but once you get it, it's one of the best.
They're 2001 911s with all the GT body on it and paintwork. We've put some locking differentials in them because there's going to be a lot of basically drifting shots with that.
It's so fast. And it defies all physics. That's the beauty of it. I'm glad that we got it in.
Yo, how'd I do?
We're gonna need a faster car.
One of the highlights of our movie is a $1 million race. Tyrese had to show off as usual and turn on his police lights.
Typical Roman.
Yeah, we love it.
The $1 million race scene, you have this 4 equal 2011 Chargers all there in their full glory and police regalia, you know. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's a great scene to see the sexiness of the car and then the 4 drivers really kind of having this battle.
Don't make it too easy for me, boys.
We've turned down so many requests to partner up with car companies because I just never felt like it was appropriate. On this one, it was appropriate because they were gonna have to be police cars that ultimately gets converted, and it was a perfect brand.
Dodge basically gave us 2 brand new 2011 Chargers and enough parts to make our own 2011 Chargers. But they look great, they perform great.
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
We got to really get up in the high end of it where these Chargers were really going fast. One of the things we had there is this vehicle called the C2, and it has a huge, big arm on the top of it.
Here, let me just see him make a run at it and see how much this thing bounces.
That is maneuvered by a remote guy inside the vehicle with him. What that gives you is we can drive head-on at traffic, and with the arm extended out over traffic, we can be over the Chargers and see other guys coming underneath the arm and underneath camera at speed. It's threading the needle, and this gives you that effect without having to stick your neck out there.
It's a great concept, and it worked perfect. And then, of course, they turned them into the Vault Heist cars. They were all SRT8s that we used for the Vault, just because those are the ones that we really needed to perform.
That Vault that we're pulling out would just weigh a ton. You couldn't do that with the lightweight car. You know, you want to be able to put down as much traction as possible.
Obviously, we had to get real beefy tires on them. And the effects department built a frame around the Chargers and tied an entire back bumper cage where this thing could support that kind of weight.
And those, the ones that we had, were set up all-wheel drive. You know, it's a big, heavy car with a lot of power.
We work very hard, I think, every time when we make these films to pick the cars as the extension of the characters. Hobbs, trying to make him the iconic kind of figure coming into Rio, we needed an indestructible car that could match Dwayne's physical presence. I mean, Dwayne is a huge guy, and he got even bigger to do this film. And so anything less than the Gurkha would look silly. It would look like a clown car.
If there's anything we can do to help,
Stay the out of my way. When I met with Justin, and Justin said, okay, listen, I got the perfect car for your character. What is it? It's a 10-ton Gurkha. Great. I love it. It is a badass, absurdly large vehicle. It was very appropriate for Hobbs and for his men. It's 10-ton of opening up drums and barrels of whoop ass.
It's basically a Ford F550 chassis is what it is. It's an F550, but it weighs twice as much. And then they fabricate their own armor-plated body on top of it. So the performance would be equivalent to an F550 towing a large trailer.
You can't get to 60 in 3.2 seconds in it, but once it gets going, it's pretty powerful.
It was a great choice, but it was tough many times because it's just so huge. And trying to drive it through some of the streets leading up to the favela, it got a little hairy at times.
Action! It's like one lane. The Gurkha fills this entire road. And Justin, he wanted the Gurkhas to jump over these rises and come down the hill. So we tried 4 different versions of shock absorbers, and I blew all 4 of them.
I can appreciate the fast cars and Fast and Furious and those sports cars, but and at the end of the day, I'll take that Gurkha. That Gurkha will crush those cars in a second. May not be able to catch them, but it ever does, you're done. You're toast.
That's awesome. Cool. Is that the crash bar? Yeah, it's great. Right.
It was funny because I knew always that if you're going to introduce the Gurkha, it's going to have to interact with the Charger. understood the significance of the Charger. For it to be an integral part of the story point, in the third act, that was something that we needed.
It means something more than just a ride. I love the fact that it's the car that killed his father. Like, that has a lot of resonance to it.
That he wouldn't let them junk it, even though it is a goddamn curse.
There's a scene in the movie where Mia says to Dom that the car's a curse. So there is that unspoken feel about that car that the Charger, at some point, irony is at some point that Charger's got to get out of your life.
I mean, that is an analog of Dom's soul. It's like samurai. Samurai always believed that their sword was their soul. And if your sword broke, then your soul was broken. You had to fix it. And these guys, they are street samurai. These are their swords.
I smell a new Charger coming. I smell a new Charger coming with Dom written on the side.
Vin Diesel definitely likes the Charger.
Home sweet home.
This is basically what we start with when we buy a Charger. Really just a bare shell. We completely strip everything out of the car, front to rear. Wiring, fuel system, powertrain. We replaced most of the body panels, the floor pan. The trunks. I tried to give the car a little bit, an updated look. New suspension, complete coilover design. The car will sit lower.
That weather looks like as though it's driven all the way to South America. The blower was removed because now he's trying to operate in a low-profile fashion. We actually have a brand new Chrysler Hemi with a cross ram on it, but it's still the same car. Definitely has some attitude to it. It was brand new semi and flipped in Fast and Furious 1. Fast and Furious 4, it hit a wall in a tunnel and exploded. So it rejuvenates itself every show. It just doesn't want to die. If there's a 6, I bet it'll be back, but we'll see what happens.
We're here on our auto plant set, and the thing that I'm excited about is that we're actually going to put the actors in the cars, and we're just going to have them run the course. One of the things that was very important to me, especially on this one, I think we try to do it on all of them, is to make sure that, any kind of car movement, stunts can best showcase the cars. It's just a warm-up one. Is he gonna?
Where do you want him to stop?
Is he gonna? I think he comes out. You pull out, and he comes up to the guy.
Tighten it back up to the car.
Okay, good. So that was just a. That was just a. What was it? That was just to feel out the course.
That was just to show them, just to show the path, show everybody the path and all that, and then
But he's gonna be. You want to try one?
I don't want to. I'll try one drifting, but we wanted to have.
Not even his cameras on it, I guess, is it?
Huh?
No. Sorry?
I just want to make sure we have different driving styles,
We were
so
just talking about that.
Yeah.
Especially with this car, it's a bitch to drift.
Yeah.
This car is really sticky. It doesn't break traction, and that's what makes it really fast.
Yeah.
The show and go, of all the drifting and stuff is cool, but the fastest line is going to be the one with the less noise and less tire braking.
But I think the thing is, for the layman, we have to be able to sell the aggressive nature. I think that's why I have to see this, and I have to feel like you're being aggressive, because I just want to make sure that we can, at least on film.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The thing of it is, this car, without a lot of speed, is really, really, really hard to drift. It takes a lot of power and a lot of speed.
Now let's go. Let's see what you got.
Yep.
Okay.
75%. You want to rehearse it?
Yes. Yeah. Let's.
All right.
Guys.
I just need to do one because I haven't driven this particular car at all except for that right there. 75%, and we'll go do it.
Yeah.
That's probably all we need.
Let me know when you're ready. Okay? Even if it's 50%, then we go up one.
Okay, we're going to do another rehearsal.
Justin, the more we go, the smoother it's going to become. His tires are going to get hotter, and he's going to get more better feel. So give him exactly, you know what I mean?
How many runs can he do? Because we're going to have to make adjustments on it. All right.
You can do as many as you need.
Yeah.
The point is,
my point is why are we being so precious with our runs? I think we should run it, and just because I want to know that corner. I want to know a couple things before.
Okay. Hey, Oaks, are you good to run one? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Do you want to put them on video or not?
I think let's run one without. Let's just do it. I'll have peace of mind. I'll know what we have.
Okay, go.
You know.
Just up top going around.
Oh yeah. But give it to me like you're going to get, maybe 80%. Good job. You want this car to dance a little more than it is, Justin?
It has to. The whole point was I had this whole conversation about this car sliding. I gotta push that mother, man. It's like, how do we sell it? Because I get it. I get that the line is fast, but it doesn't look good on camera.
Yeah. Ready, and action.
Whoa. Stunt driving at its best.
So it's 75?
Yeah, that one was over there. That feels pretty good. Like it'll be a good spot. Another one?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want another one for what reason?
I want to be more aggressive. I want to be.
Okay, guys, I don't want to.
Right, but I
damage the car. Then, so.
Well, we're gonna have to. I need to know what.
I just don't want to damage the car.
Well, I don't want to damage the car either. But I'm, things are getting shifted. I want to make sure that he's gonna have to run this quite a bit. So and you're gonna get more accustomed to it, right?
Yep.
So let's just do one more. Yeah, it's all better.
I think it's, everyone's a little. I'm not worried, Justin. It's going to be sexy.
Yeah.
That last one it's starting to get closer to what, and as he goes more, he starts to,
I think as long as you feel that the character's trying to be aggressive.
Yeah.
I don't mind even if he misses. That's our first one, but it still has to.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. Like if he's never gonna. If Rich, you're coming on the big turn.
Right here, anyways, the Porsche is pretty much straight, anyways. Right?
Okay. So if wherever you feel comfortable, I want to get that real estate built up, so that when I do the shots from here and stuff, it's gonna look like you're going. It's tighter than what it is.
You're gonna get locked. You're gonna get locked here.
It's good to squeeze those in just like inside of this, right? It's fine with me because I like to have something to
look at.
To not hit, so I'd rather not hit this. You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
It helps me when I have.
Okay.
Hey Oakley, I think it's all good. How about, I'd love for it to end this way because I'm gonna see the back of what it is. Okay. But so anything you can do to preserve that, don't worry about that. That's what I'm saying, don't worry about that. Come in.
Set up for that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. This shot is just a storytelling shot, guys. What's gonna happen is that the camera's gonna be out there with the Technicrane. You're gonna see the Porsche kind of drift in. There's gonna be 4 screens and there's gonna be 4 cameras throughout. I needed to get this shot, Vin. We're countering the camera and then with the car, so I know that we're going over your shoulder, but.
As long as it look good.
Focus right. Fix it. I think if we just start a little bit like that, if we start there, and then you know what? It felt like there was a little jerk.
Yeah, it was.
If it just kind of
because everything went together.
They can start slower. It's okay.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's the shot. Let's one more.
It's getting better, Vince.
Right. I know, but why can't it be great the first time?
Now you're being greedy.
Yeah, you'll be greedy. Okay. Just gonna change the lens and we'll go one more time.
Okay.
Here we go. Ready, and action.
Cut. Wow.
Oaks, good job, buddy.
I like that. Yeah. Let's start that.
Good.
All right, new deal.
Give it your best shot.
How was that one?
Camera caught you.
What?
Oh, yeah, that's good. Cut.
Okay, here we go. Pictures up. Roll cameras. And action.
You ready?
I'm ready.
At one point, we were going to start the movie off with a vault heist from a bank. And it kept evolving. And of course, there's always discussion about how are you going to do it? Like, we should just do it CG or whatever. And I was like, no. Let's just build what a vault would look like. And I said, let's just go out and just tow it around and see what happens.
But one of the things that came up when we first started is we said, look, you know, a real vault that comes out of a bank like that that's 8 feet wide and 10 feet long and 8 feet high has got to weigh, you know, probably close to 100,000 pounds. So it's gonna just evaporate things it hits.
I mean, we really had to dissect, break it down into a million different little shots because now you're toting this thing and people can really get hit and hurt.
The other thing that came into play was that it's hard to guide this thing. When cars come sweeping around the corner, the vault is a whiplash. It's the end of a bullwhip. And when it comes around, it really doesn't stop for anything. It knocks over parked cars and telephone poles and anything that gets in its way. That was a big issue because when you're in Puerto Rico, you can only destroy the things that you tell them you're going to hit.
What's going to happen is we're going to crash the vault through that bus stop behind you over there.
Not buildings and, you know, landmarks and things that they say. You really don't want to hit this power transformer that powers the entire city. So what we ended up doing is I built a steerable vault. We took a pickup truck, a heavy-duty pickup truck, and we sawed the entire back part of it off. So now it's a very short pickup truck. And we said, we're going to put a vault over the top of this thing. And we're going to put tiny little viewing holes on the front and tiny little viewing holes on the side. And then we're going to be able to drive it in places where it needs to steer through turns and not really hit anything. So this one that we made with the pickup truck, we stuck a guy inside of it, and we practiced with it.
That driving vault looked like a clown car, and it was just a guy driving the vault. We would loop around the freeways. The traffic would stop, and people would be staring at this vault just driving on its own. It's one of my favorite images.
The first thing in testing that we found out was that it's an oven, because we're in the middle of summer in Puerto Rico. And I know Henry Kinji, our guy that was inside it, he suffered a lot.
And you can see I'm sweating like a pig in this thing.
Henry, all right.
I tried to find a thermometer here for a house, but they don't sell them. So I got a meat thermometer. And I stuck the meat thermometer in there with me. And I ended up, and it was up at 135 the other day, so I was a fully cooked ham.
Smoking, I was going to say stop, but it was the last shot, and I just had to get it.
Jack got some dry ice to put in there to try to keep the truck cool.
He kept passing out on us, so I went and ordered dry ice, and I put dry ice in burlap bags, and we set them all on top of the engine compartments.
This is it. This is my home away from home. My helmet, and also for air, there's this pumper that fits into the helmet to allow fresh air to come from outside to breathe. So there are quite a few things that have been done to make this workable. This is the hookup for the cool suit.
We put him in a cool suit, which is this vest that has cool water going through it and these lines that are all attached to it.
This is where they plug in, and that's that little ice chest back there has the ice and ice water in it.
And then I said, the vault takes us 15 minutes to get him in and out of it. Let's give him a toilet inside of it. So we actually took the passenger seat out and put in a portable toilet there and said, if you have to go, that's your only way out, because we're not spending 15 minutes getting you in and 15 minutes getting you out of it. It's just ridiculous.
This is the strangest thing I've ever driven. And I mean it.
To make this vault sequence actually work, we needed vaults that do different things. We've got a vault on the end of a semi-truck.
We had some that we would swing in by a crane that were just very massive and heavy.
As you can see, there's a vault underneath the crane, and this is our pendulum swinging wrecking ball vault. Action!
The vault that went through the bank, the shape of the vault is square. It's not meant to roll.
Spikes to hit, Dom. We got spikes. We're going right.
You had to get the vault up to a certain speed so it would tumble.
I built a special vault for this scene. It has an axle running through the middle of it. A vault will be mounted on a carriage at a 45-degree angle for run-up. On action, the tow truck is going to tow the two ropes that are pulling it, and it'll get up to speed on a run-up track and finally crash through the windows, at which point we'll trip it and it'll start to tumble on its own.
Guys, I'm hearing all this chatter. Did you just take out a bank?
I had stunt people inside the bank building, and I said, on action, this huge thing is going to pull this tumbling vault through there. It's not going to stop for anything. And the entire bank building is going to be decimated. But I said, I want you all, the bodies in front of the camera. Well, when we yelled action and this thing started tumbling through here, it was like a battering ram. It came through, tumbling through, and there was glass everywhere and chunks of metal going everywhere. We had people running all the different directions. And you never know if a 10-foot piece of I-beam is going to tumble through and hit one of the stunt people. But I think it's an enormous event for us to be able to get through that with nobody getting hurt, because there were a lot of unknowns in that bank vault sequence. There were a lot of things that could have gone wrong, but we had luck on our side.
Another thing that was a challenge is the bridge sequence. There was so much going on this bridge. I mean, you had 14 cars, I think, head on with this vault. Either being crushed, destroyed, flipped, knocked in the air, knocked off the bridge, falling 30 feet into the water below, two cars at the same time. I mean, cars being decapitated.
We thought about the roof sharing only because I had done that a few other times with Spiro, and we knew that a cable strung at that tensile strength, if you tried to get underneath it, it's going to go across the hood, and it's going to cut through the roof like butter. And Doc Charbonneau, who was going to do this, he's one of our shorter stuntmen. And I said, you know, that's where the cable's coming through. You have to be over before that, or you're losing your head. What's your primary concern? Get down!
Ready? And action!
When you see the cameras, he literally lays over a millisecond before the cable comes through and shears the roof off. Now, we had cables attached to the roof of the car that pull the roof of the car off and get it away from him. But those cables are also life-threatening as well, because anytime they snag on anything, they're gonna take flesh and bone and everything with it. So that was a tough one for us, because when you put a real human in there, it's life-threatening. But we did 3 takes of that, and he was great in all 3 of them.
We really broke our budget on this one with the cars. There's a point where I've just said, please don't tell me anymore. I don't want to know. It's too much. Please don't destroy any more cars. But I'm so proud of that sequence. The vault heist at the end of the movie, it's like nothing I've ever seen.